Alright, what is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be making a video just kind of going through this trip that I just went on over the last weekend. If you guys don't know, PAX East was this last weekend. I ended up going with a couple of my friends, and I went there with a goal, and that was to try to see how many street passes I could get on my 3DS. If you don't know, the 3DS had a feature where if you walked by someone who also had a 3DS, all you had to do was just put it in sleep mode, and their Mii would come up on your plaza, which you could use to like play games with and things like that. So I thought that would be a really cool thing to try out and see if anyone else had the same idea, and there actually ended up being quite a few. I mean, literally just walking into the convention center, I checked my 3DS and I already had 3. Unfortunately, I forgot to record me actually like going through those 3, but I got 3 of them right off the bat, which was pretty cool. Most of what I was looking for at the event was more retro stuff. I know that's not the focus of PAX, but there were actually a surprising number of tables. There were, I think, 4 or 5. The first one I checked out actually had a lot, but it seemed to be pretty overpriced. It had some pretty good, like, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, Game Boy. They also had an FZ10 3DO that I was really thinking about getting. I think the guy wanted $300 for it, which is about what they go for in the box. However, the box was pretty damaged, so realistically, I'd probably only pay like $250 for it. There was also another table right behind that one. They had some display cases with some pretty cool stuff in it. I was mainly looking at Mario Land 2, was the Japanese version. That's one of my favorite Game Boy games. However, theirs was a little bit pricey. I think they wanted like $50 for it. And that's kind of a common theme. Most of the tables there, they upcharge on a lot of their stuff just because of the event that they're at. They had some high dollar NES games. I actually ended up picking up one from there. Prices weren't too terrible, although it was, $10, $20 over what they would usually be. And then they just had like a huge dump bin of Game Boy, Game Gear, things like that. Then over to the side, they had some pretty decent Genesis games in like a little display case, so that was pretty cool. I actually ended up picking up something from there too. After all that, checked my 3DS, still didn't have any new Street Passes. I just had the 3 that I started off with, so kept walking around. I walked over to the Tekken 8 tournament that was going on and watched that for a bit, which was pretty cool to see. Never been to like a live tournament like that, so it was just kind of an interesting thing to check out. The next table that I checked out had a bunch of stuff that I was actually looking for. Sega CD, Saturn, Dreamcast, boxed Nintendo stuff. But it was all really expensive, like almost double market for everything. So I didn't end up picking up anything from there, but I was really tempted to get a couple things that I saw. After that, I just kind of wandered around and just, checked out what was going on in the other parts of the venue. And there's like this really cool sky bridge where you could look over the entire event. And while I was up there, I decided to check my street passes, and I actually had one more tag, which was pretty cool. So I was up to 4 at that point. After that, I walked back through, and I ended up finding another table that I somehow missed. It was super nice. It had, like, these glass display cases with a bunch of, 32X, Saturn, CDI games, 3DO games, like, just a ton of really niche stuff, which is what I mainly look for. But they were all really expensive. But yeah, then after, checked Street Passes again after I had walked around a bit, gone to that table. And I had 4 more, actually, so I was up to 8, and that was pretty much it for, like, me shopping. I did stop at one other table that I forgot to film, but they had some really cool, like, video game vinyls, so that was neat. After that, we had to leave because it got to 6 o'clock, which is when the Expo Center closes, and I was just kind of waiting by the door, waiting for my Uber. So a lot of people were walking out past me, and I actually ended up getting 7 more Street Passes just from waiting there in the entrance, which is pretty neat. So total over the entire weekend, I got 15, which is really cool. And that's a lot more than I thought I'd get just walking around there. I didn't think that many people would think to bring their 3DS with them, but it was still really cool to kind of get that experience now, because the last time I think I'd used Street Pass was, I don't know, probably 8 years ago, when I originally had a 3DS when I was a kid. But anyway, back home now. I just thought I'd show you guys some of the pickups that I've got from the convention and just from the weekend in general. There were a couple game stores and things that I checked out and picked up some games from there. So first of all, this is the game that I got from that NES section. I paid, I think, $90 for it, which is a little bit more than it usually goes for. I think it's usually closer to the 80 mark. But it's a game that I've been wanting for a while. I have, like, most of the other Mega Mans for NES, so I just wanted to get the first one just to have it. You know, some of the best box art on any NES game. Also from that same table with all those Genesis games, I got Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, which is a game I've been wanting for a while because the soundtrack is amazing. Obviously for the game, like, it has to be. But the Genesis, like, renditions of all of his music is really good, and I've just always thought that was a super cool thing about it, that the music was translated over so well. Then also got Panzer Dragoon Orta, which is another game I've been wanting to get for a long time. It's not like anything too crazy expensive or rare, but I just really enjoyed the first two Panzer Dragoon games. I have both of them on Saturn, so I just wanted to get Orta just to have all three. I think there's only three. I know they remade either one or two on, like, last-gen consoles, but I'm not 100% sure if they ever had another Panzer Dragoon. They might have. I know there's obviously the RPG that's, like, $5,000. I don't have that, unfortunately. Next up, these aren't too interesting because you can kind of get these anywhere, but I went to a Walmart and I was looking in their clearance section. I ended up getting Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD, which is just something that I didn't have yet. And then Resident Evil Village, which is also something that I just didn't have yet. And for like $15 each, can't really go wrong with them. They're both decent games, so just grab both of those. And the final actual game purchase, I stopped at this little game store called Sudden Impact, and they had a couple things. It was a very small store, but they had a lot of stuff just packed in there. I ended up finding Kirby Canvas Curse, which is interesting game. It's more of like a spin-off. It's not really like a mainline Kirby game. I've seen gameplay of it before, and I always thought it was kind of interesting, and it seemed like it would be fun, so picked that up. And then also from that same shop, I picked up this Atari 2600 Junior. And that's mainly just because I haven't, and I think I only got it for like $30 or something. I don't have one of these yet, so I just thought it would be cool to buy another console that I don't own. I do have like a full-size Atari 2600, but I really do like the styling of this one more. That was cool. It still had the plastic over the label here, and I peeled that off because it looked kind of bad. It was all like yellowed and starting to peel off. But, I mean, without the plastic on it, it looks mint. There's like a little bit of dirt in there that I'd have to clean out, but condition-wise, this thing's like amazing. And then also, these two aren't video games, but they're video game related. I mentioned that there was a table that had some video game vinyls at it, and I ended up picking up two things from there. First one was the Mother 2 soundtrack, or Earthbound here in America. This is one of my favorite games of all time, and I just really wanted to have the soundtrack on either CD or vinyl, because that's one of my favorite parts of the game. And I've already opened this up and taken a look at it, so that's why the plastic wrap is sliced. But yeah, just a really, really cool piece of like Mother 2 merch that I wanted. And then the other thing, for one of my other favorite video games of all time, it's a fan-created soundtrack that's kind of inspired by Jet Set Radio. It's called Memories of Tokyoto by Too Mellow. It just kind of has that same style to it and uses like a lot of samples and things from the games and, things like that. So it's just really cool. I just really wanted both of these because I like the games that they're inspired by. And I mean, the record for this one looks super cool. I like the paint splatter. But yeah, really neat. So yeah, overall, that's everything that I got from PAX. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel out a lot. Got some pretty interesting videos coming up in the future, but I want to try to kind of space them out. There's also some stuff that I'm waiting on for certain things, so it's going to take a little bit. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.